Hi, I'm Jim Driver, and I want to welcome you to one of our modules in the Corporate Athlete series. This module is all about discovering your exceptional talents. You know, the thing is, we're all born with a great talents. Think of the children you have or the children you know and how exceptionally they are at learning, at acquiring information, picking up new skills. They're just, the whole brain we have is this amazing thing that can do so much for us. A lot of statistics say we only use 5% of it. And there's a lot of new theories emerging every day about what that brain is all about. So what are you going to do with your talents? Because the secret here is you can't do everything. You've got to specialize. And that's as you move from childhood going forward. And so you still got all this talent, but you got to turn it into useful performance through focus and practice. Peter Drucker very wisely said, you need to play to your strengths, shore up your weaknesses just enough so they don't erode your strengths, but don't waste a whole bunch of energy trying to build excellence out of weakness. Invest your energy in building on your exceptional talent. We think of talent as a recurring pattern of thought, feeling, or behavior that can be productively applied. And I've talked about the fact that all people have talent. So how do we think of this in a business context? What we've discovered over the years of working with executives and managers and knowledge workers is the best thing to do is look at observable activities. What are people actually doing? Because if they have talent and they apply that talent to those activities, you're going to get a unique output, and the key is to map that unique output to the role success that they're in. We've all had people that have super talent, but they're just in the wrong job. So you have to understand that. But here's why this is so important. When you focus on the selected activities that are in your talent zone, it drives success. As soon as you move out of that, you get frustration, lower productivity, and it can really slow your career progress. Here's another amazing fact. If you've got a great talent in, say, camera work, and you take a course on camera work, you dramatically improve. If you're not good at camera work, you take a camera course, it doesn't do much good. So investing in things that we're good at plays a really big benefit for us. Think of people who are specialists. Often we think of sports and entertainment, but it's true if you think of pilots, doctors, dentists, CPAs. They're exceptionally good at something, narrow down their focus, and they spend their days, their lives being exceptional at that. When they vary away from that, very often they fail. The problem we have in most corporate jobs where the same thing should apply. You should focus and have expertise at something. But what happens on the way to you go through 2 or 3 level changes is, I always say, with a gun to your head, you can do absolutely everything. And so sometimes we forget, times are tough and we say, well, I'll do that and I'll do that and I'll do that and I'll clean the floors as well. The problem is that's taking you away from investing your time, your energy, and your talents where you are really exceptional, because that's when you're going to get exceptional results. And you'll also, if you do that, rob the people underneath you that work for you from getting the kinds of opportunities they need. Every job has got some specific thing, so it's important to know how your talents will match to your job. When you get a debrief on your exceptional talent, we can show you how this actually happens. Now, here's an eye test for you. You probably can't see all these statements, but that's really not important here, as you'll understand in a minute. But if I were to follow you around any day, these are all the things you would do. Now, they're generic, they're not job or corporate, but you can easily see how they expand if you just sort of add some of your own terminology on it. So what we're going to get you to do as you go through the tool, and you'll see the button below that you're going to click, is it's going to present you each of those activities and ask you to decide, in your opinion, are they things that you're exceptional at, considerable, competent, or incapable? I'm going to come back to that word incapable in a minute. Exceptional, that says it energizes you and others. It feels easy when you do it. You generate exceptional, you can almost do it on autopilot. And doing it builds confidence and increases capability. Considerable, you're just down a notch. It feels natural, you create superior outputs, it's just not in that zone, if you like, of being exceptional. Now, competent says you never get much better at it. You can get it done. It just doesn't energize you. It's really better to have others do that. Incapable, most executives in business will say to me, oh no, I'm not incapable at anything, which is true. Gun to their head, they can do anything. But if you're doing something, incapable isn't really incapable. I'm just trying to get people, grab your attention with that word, because it'll frustrate you, it'll lower your productivity, you'll get no satisfaction doing it, and it'll waste your time and drain your energy. I find there's a very interesting correlation. The better the performing executive is at the higher level, the more things they're willing to admit they're incapable at. And that's because they've consciously made the decision they're going to get other people to do that. There's also an interesting balance between life balance in that, because people that have no life balance often have nothing in the competent or the incapable. What they're trying to do is they're be all things to all people. They're trying to do everything, and that actually works against you. So when you click on that button after you've finished listening to this little voiceover PowerPoint, you're going to click on it. It's going to come up. We're looking for your name and your email address. That's so we can just send you the report. Telephone number helps us so we can follow up if need be, if there's anything. A little explanation. Then you're going to be presented with this screen. Those 36 items that I showed you on that little eye test earlier, like analyze numbers and financial statements, will turn up. Each one of them has a bigger definition so you can see what it is. If you just use your mouse, you can drag and drop each of these items into those buckets of exceptional, considerable, competent, or incapable. After you've done that, it's going to look like this, where you've sorted them out. But here's what's interesting. Then it's going to give you an opportunity. It's going to give them all back to you and ask you in each bucket, and you can actually change buckets at this time, say whether you actually love doing it. Is this something that just turns your crank, or do you just like doing it? Or do you don't like doing it? Or do you want to refuse to do it? At any point in time in your career, you'll start to change some of your opinions. You may have done something for some time, but you're now into a job change and you know you shouldn't. Let's say you've been promoted to what we often call a higher pay grade. There are some things you should let go, so you should refuse to do those. So this gives you a chance to sort it out so that you're going to end up with something that looks like this. So it's a spread. When you do that, there's going to be a little button that allows you to download it, and the report you get is on the right-hand side, and it gives you some explanation. We'll follow up with more information after you get your report to explain how you can really leverage that. But here's what's interesting. On the left-hand side of this screen, you're going to see, you've done it. It's going to give you a chance to pick 6 things that you really want to invest in and 1 thing that you would really like to master. This is about probing your mind, all that brilliance that's in there, to say, boy, if I really want to make a difference, if I want to reach my ultimate potential, what is it that I should really do? Then in order to do that, you've got to free up time. It's going to give you an opportunity to pick things from this, which will normally be on in the competent or the incapable list, saying, hey, I really have to delegate this. And it'll probe your thinking a little bit to type in some information about, okay, how could I possibly delegate those things? This shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes or so. You'll get the report back. And just as a start, we can review more later on this. You'll be getting more information. But what this allows you to do is narrow your focus so that you can invest in your best. It can help accelerate your personal delegation, give you ideas on how you hire complementary talents. You don't want your whole team looking like you. You want to make sure if there's something missing in you or your team, you find a way to get that. And also to filter your opportunities, because you really want to get jobs and positions and do things and set up an environment where you're going to thrive, where every day you love to go to work because you're in your talent zone. You actually, if you think about it, how far can you go? Well, it depends what you're thinking about. If you're thinking about your talent and you're focused on that, that's really going to make a big difference for you. Little testimonial. I ran into an executive I worked with about 10 years ago. This was about 5 years ago. So it had been 5 years since I had actually worked with him. And he ran into him in an airport and he grabbed me and said, look, I got to tell you, of all that stuff we did working together, learning my exceptional talents was an absolute game changer. That I used it for every, that talent profile as a filter in his last 5 career changes, and he thought it had made a dramatic difference to his success over time. Just a great story about how one simple thing can make a radical difference. So what I want you to do now is click on that link below, finish up your particular exceptional talent profile, and you'll get your report back in an email.